On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about ERRA's self-titled album.
ERRA.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it.
Jace.
And I don't know why that got me.
I didn't either.
Today, we're talking about ERRA's self-titled album from last year.
They're from Alabama.
Yes, they're from Alabama. Mm-hmm. And they're a band that I used to listen to a lot. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, over the last couple of years, I just haven't really listened to them very much. And last week sometime, I was like, hey... Mm-hmm. They have a new album, right? I was listening to some of their older songs again. And I was like, oh yeah, they fucking rock.
Right.
Let's listen to their new album, and it blew my goddamn mind. So I was like, we're gonna talk about it.
Well, you brought it into me, and I didn't know what you were playing for me. And it starts out with this really cool synthesizer part. I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. And then, then it went into the thing that they do,
which is
like what?
It's bananas. It's bananas.
It's bananas.
They're a fantastic band from Birmingham, Alabama.
They're from Birmingham.
I'm from Birmingham, mate. That's Liverpool.
That is Liverpool.
That's Liverpool. I don't really know what a Brummie. I mean, I haven't heard because Ozzy Osbourne, I feel like, is kind of like Sean Connery, where
he's not a good representative.
He has his own accent,
right.
I would have to listen to more interviews with Barney Greenway to get a handle
Rubble.
on. Yeah, Barney, famously English Barney Rubble.
Hey there.
Yep. Famously English caveman, Barney Rubble. But
which is actually how he got his name.
Yes, I'm aware that's how Barney Greenway got his name, because people called him that when he would get drunk and knock shit over.
Trouble.
Yeah. It's like, all right, Barney Rubble.
Yeah.
And then it just got shortened to Barney.
Right.
And it continued to this day. What's his actual name?
It's something very mundane.
Isn't it Mike?
Something like that. It's something just regular.
I'm pretty sure it's something like Mike is Barney Greenway's legal name. But
Phyllis.
Something Mike Greenway just does not sound right. Barney Greenway. What does Google have to say? Barney Greenway. I don't know why I said that in the SpongeBob theme. It's Mark. His name is Mark.
Right.
Mark Andrew Greenway.
Mark Andrew Mothersbaugh.
Mothersbaugh?
No, I'm sorry, you know who that is.
That's a reference I don't get.
Yeah, he was in a band called Devo, and then after that he wrote tons and tons of TV themes and commercials. He wrote the theme to a lot of Klasky Supo cartoons, including the Rugrats. But I mean,
wow, the Rugrats theme.
And I remember reading an interview with him, and this is so a Mark Mothersbaugh thing to do, because he was in Devo, mind you. If you ever listen to Devo's music, you're like, there's something I can't put my fucking finger on about this.
Okay.
But he said he produced a lot of commercials for some big names like McDonald's and JCPenney and different shit like this.
Yeah.
This is like in the early 90s, late 80s. And he always would do sort of the Tyler Durden thing. He would put
splice in a little bit of something.
Just a little, just maybe if not just a splice, maybe just there's a sign on the corner that if you pause somehow to read, it was like, fuck your mother or something.
Some weird subliminal shit.
Yeah.
God, I haven't watched Fight Club in such a long time.
It's worth another watch.
Yeah, and also because I feel like now being 26, I will definitely watch it differently than I watched it when I was 15.
Right.
Like I watched Fight Club a lot when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
That's something that I feel like hasn't really changed for teenage boys.
Right. Because all teenage boys are just a little bit douchey.
Yeah.
You grow out of it.
Yeah.
And if you're a teenage boy listening to this, we love you, man. But
yeah, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
It's one of those
just
things
a little
where,
douchey.
like, if you hear, if you're a teenage boy and someone introduces Fight Club to you and you do watch it, it almost certainly becomes something you're obsessed with.
Exactly.
For a while. And that definitely was me. It became like a weird, like, comfort watch in the sense that, like, it was a movie I was so familiar with that I would watch it. Like, I had a pirated copy of it on my iPod Touch that I just watched a whole bunch of times. Like, if I couldn't sleep or whatever, I would just watch Fight Club, which is a weird thing to watch before bed.
It is.
A really weird thing to watch before bed.
Here's the thing. You're going to watch it again as an adult sailing way past 20. And you're going to go, you know, I got to admit, though, the main character here really needs to fucking get over it.
Yeah, no, it's like, get over it. Yeah, you've got to.
Edward Norton needs to climb the fuck down.
Figure it out.
Figure it out, goddammit.
I mean, I think that's part of the point of the movie is that, like, his own brain was telling him to figure it out and then went too far.
Right.
Like, put your life, get your life together and be the person you've always wanted to be. Yeah. Oh, you won't do that? Okay, well, we're going to turn you into Brad Pitt against your will.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for a 23-year-old movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's if you don't know the twist of Fight Club at this point and you've heard of the movie, then that's your fault.
I mean, because at the end of the movie, we find out Rosebud was a sled.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Rosebud was a sled.
And Bruce Willis was dead the whole time. Exactly.
And Snape kills Dumbledore. And Darth Vader is actually Luke's father.
Wait, what did you just say?
Yeah, Darth Vader is Luke's father.
No.
It's crazy.
No. No, that's not until a later movie.
And it can't be. Kylo Ren is Darth Vader's grandson.
Right. Luke's nephew.
Kylo Ren is Han Solo's son. What a twist that was in The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? You mean the obvious thing was obvious?
Yeah.
Like they kind of built that up, and it was like, no, duh. Of course he's the son of Han and Leia.
I think what they ought to have done. I think this would have been my twist, and this is why they don't let me direct movies. Mm-hmm. I think my twist would have been, no, father, and his father would have responded,
yes, Chewbacca, his dad, Chewbacca. We find out that Kylo Ren has to shave his entire body daily.
It's why he wears the mask sometimes.
Yeah.
The fur. Yeah. Because before Han and Leia did get together, but there was this brief period
where Leia got together with Chewbacca. Yeah.
She's like, I want a carpet ride.
Oh, God, no. No. God. I also did think it was interesting because, like, somebody showed a picture like side by side of Adam Driver with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And it was actually fairly compelling. Like, you see them individually and you're like, they don't look that much alike. And then I saw their pictures side by side. I was like, yeah,
that could happen.
I can see Adam Driver as Harrison Ford's theoretical son.
Right.
But yeah, that's it. I don't know. Let's another rant about Disney Star Wars on the books.
Yeah.
We've done it.
There you go. We've done it.
You've made some progress in Elden Ring.
I have made some progress.
You killed Margit.
I did kill Margit. I didn't go on to kill
Godric.
Godric, because you get to that gatekeeper and he says, "All right, here you go. You can go that way, or you can go this way."
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if you go straight forward? Is that where Godric is, or
no?
Okay.
Not straightforward. No. If you're truly curious, go ahead and give it a shot.
Is it something bad?
I'm not going to tell you anything.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. Because I took
story. I feel like FromSoft is one of those things where I'm okay with story twists. It's gameplay twists that I don't like having spoiled quite so much because.
Oh, sorry, and I spoiled the gameplay piece for you earlier.
What?
Nothing. I'm not going to repeat it.
I can't remember
Has to do with the Glintstone
what
key.
You had said. Oh yeah. I mean, I already basically knew where I needed to go. I just haven't done it yet. Mm-hmm. But
because it's on the map you get from that body.
Yeah. It's just I need to go do that now. But yeah, the gatekeeper is interesting because there's a different gameplay twist that I didn't know until I read about it online. I noted something was happening inside Stormvale, and I was like, why is this happening?
Right. And so you're like, dun, 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 I'm going in.
Yeah, well, it was no. This was after the fact.
Oh, okay.
This was while I was going through Stormvale. It's like there's this weird thing happening. Has this been happening the whole time and I haven't noticed it the whole game? I guess maybe. You might notice something.
Okay.
Along the line.
Because I've made it almost to the top. I've fought in 2 of those Death Knights.
I will ask. Have you noticed a strange thing with the amount of runes that you pick up from your little corpse?
The things that I kill? Or?
Yeah, no, when you die and need to go reclaim your runes.
No, I haven't.
Maybe look at the number that comes up on the screen. Note the number when you die, and then note the number that comes up on the screen when you collect.
Don't tell me anything beyond that.
Yeah, just pay attention to that next time you die in Stormvale.
Okay, Stormvale Castle. I'll go back and
note how many runes you have when you die, and then go and pick them up and just take a look at that.
Something is leeching runes, isn't it?
I don't know.
Shit. Okay.
I don't know.
I'll have to go kill that thing, I guess.
I don't know.
You've figured it out and you've taken care of the problem.
Well, I mean, it's not a problem anymore because I don't need to be in Stormvale. It only happens in Stormvale.
Really?
It's connected to a thing in Stormvale
that you can't solve.
You can solve it very quickly and easily.
Really?
Yeah.
And you didn't?
I wasn't aware that it was I wasn't aware that once I became aware that it was happening, I did not know why it was happening. I only learned why today.
After you left Stormvale Castle a long time ago.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter anymore.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there's a thing in Stormvale that fucks with your runes, basically.
All right.
But yeah, it's continuing to just have fun.
Yeah.
In Elden Ring, it's a fun game. I'm trying to kind of change my build a little bit to instead of using a claymore in one hand, which is a bit slow, and I mean, it's not nearly as slow as using like some colossal weapons and stuff, but I'm one-handing a great sword a lot of times.
That's
and
what I'm doing.
It just the swing speed is so low, and I kind of want to use something that's faster. So I was watching a build that uses a rapier that's really good for
a rapier. Cool. I mean,
yep. It's really good for like magic builds. And so I was like, but then the stopgap with that is I don't have enough and cannot find anywhere smithing stones 3. The third tier of smithing stones.
Right, you find a lot of 2s, and there's a lot of 4s out there.
I found a lot of 2s. I found a lot of 4s. I got. I think I have some 5s. Like I've got a whole bunch of everything else, but 3.
Yeah,
I can't find fucking 3. I found a bell bearing that lets you buy them from the 2 withered husk ladies in Round Table Hold, but I cannot purchase them from. I cannot purchase at this moment. I cannot purchase them from anybody.
I know I've been talking about this particular spot in Elden Ring, but it's because it's fascinated me for some reason. I don't know why. It's just that spectral troll brings the spectral army with him to fight against the real army.
Yeah.
And every single thing down there wants to kill you.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who you're fighting against. Everybody's like, kill that guy too.
Kill him.
But if you hang out long enough, if you can pillage dead bodies through there,
and they
will have smithing stone 3s in them.
Okay. All right. I will.
And you don't even have to do any fighting. You just hang out at top until you know the troll kind of stands still, like, I'm bored now.
All right. Now I'm bored. I'll have to give that a shot. Because I need them because at the moment the damage is a little pitiful. Also, my dexterity is pretty awful.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been leveling dexterity up whatsoever, and I haven't put I have not put magic enchantment on it, which was on the Claymore because the specific build was like, don't put a magic enchantment, just pump your dexterity for the damage bonus and then use Sorcerer's Armament on it to give it magic damage, and it lasts for like 3 minutes before you have to cast it again. But I'm going to do Raya Lucaria next so I can get better magic items because that's where all the good magic items are.
Are you using pots at all?
No, not really. That's never really been my
I tried
style.
to do it. And every time I tried it, I used the raw. I never, I don't consider what the hell. Okay, I got fire pots and I got slate pots.
Yeah.
I don't know which one of these is gonna work. Fucking neither. God damn it! I just wasted a moment doing that.
The fire ones are good for specific kinds of I usually save those throughout playing FromSoft games. I usually save them for enemies that clearly you're meant to use some manner of fire on.
Right.
Like the Erd Tree spirits or the whatever they're called, the big fellas with the big hammers.
Right.
That you fight by the minor Erd trees. They're vulnerable to fire, so I'll usually make some before that because they're a tree. They're a big tree dude.
Right.
So you just throw some fire at them and it hurts them.
Note to self, because I really want to go kick that guy's ass up at what's a place called again?
Caelid?
Caelid, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right at the edge of Caelid there. There's
go kick his ass.
I want to lick his ass.
See,
he's gonna match his meat.
I like those guys because they are also very clearly using the same basic like character model and moveset as the Asylum Demon from Dark Souls 1.
Okay.
So it's just like, oh, I've fought this guy like 15 times already because there's, different ones that are basically the same that show. There's like 3 or 4 of them in Dark Souls. There's the Asylum Demon, there's Stray Demon, there's Demon Fire Sage, and I think there's one more, and then there's a Stray Demon in Dark Souls 3 as well that you can fight. So it's like, I fought these guys a bunch of times. This will be fine. I still usually get killed at least once, but it was like, once. I know your tricks. You're gonna hover up and slam your ass into the ground. I know how this works. But yeah. That's our rant about Elden Ring. It's the thing we're both doing.
Right. Yeah. By the way, one thing I'm also doing is I've decided I want to find all the map. I want to find the whole map, and I want to kill all the Erd Tree burial dogs.
Yeah,
the things that piss you off.
I fucking hate those. Well, they're the burial watchdogs, and calling them burial watchdogs is funny because they're clearly cats.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, they are a watchdog in the sense that they are a guardian of something.
Right, and they're obviously not an animal. They seem to be like an animated,
they're like a stone golem, right? Essentially, but they're clearly cats. But yeah, they're called burial watchdogs, and I fucking hate them. I also am not using a weapon that does any strike damage, which is what like if something's made of stone, it's probably vulnerable to strike damage, which is maces and hammers and whatnot. Big blunt objects. I don't have anything like that.
I beat him with long swords. With my great sword.
I know you can, but it's so much easier if you have a hammer type weapon, which I do not. I do not.
You don't?
I don't possess. I don't possess any. I was trying to come up with
something.
I was laying down the tracks and then the train crashed
into some Bavarian cream.
Bavarian cream? Oh, it's donuts.
Right.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, do you want to talk about ERRA?
ERRA!
So ERRA is a American progressive metalcore band from Birmingham, Alabama. It was formed by a bunch of high school friends, including current members of the band. There are only 2 remaining original members of the band, being lead guitarist Jesse Cash and also their drummer Connor Hess. I believe. Let me make sure I got that right. No, actually, not Connor Hess. Rather, Alex Ballou.
Alex Ballou, or is it
not related to Kurt Ballou? Spelled differently.
Right.
Ballew.
Oh, sure, like the bear.
Ballou. Yes, like the bear.
Yeah.
Famously. But no, they were the only 2 remaining members of the original lineup of the band, the people that formed the band, along with, at the time, it was vocalist Garrison Lee, and then Alan Ridgden and Adam Hicks on other instruments. They've had a couple of lineup changes over the years. The biggest one was Garrison Lee leaving at in 2014. They had released their 2 albums by that point, and a lot of people really liked Garrison's vocals and whatnot. Sure. They had a replacement vocalist named Ian Eubanks who was with them for 1 EP before he left, and then they brought in JT Cavey. Probably Cavi or Cavey. It's I've not heard his last name said aloud. But in any case, he had been briefly the vocalist of a metalcore band called Texas in July that brought him in for
hot.
It's very hot and dry for most of the state,
right?
Except for east, it was hot and humid in eastern Texas
or southeastern,
southeastern Texas,
Houston.
But in any case, they brought him in for 1 album and then the band broke up.
Sure,
but he was brought in to be their new screamed vocalist. Since the beginning, Jesse Cash, the lead guitarist, has also been doing clean vocals. And that was around the period where I was first really getting into ERRA. And I had already listened to JT Cavey on Texas in July. So I was like, oh, wow, I really like this vocalist. I think he's a great fit for the band.
So you were aware of Texas in July.
Yeah. And it was like, I liked the last album that they did because they sort of changed their style to something that I was more interested in. But in any case, the band broke up and I was like, oh, JT's doing this now. That's great. And it was kind of weird because a lot of people were like, I don't think he's a good fit for the band. And then the first album came out. I was like, what the fuck were all of you thinking? He's amazing. Like their first album with them was Drift in 2016, which is an album that I really, really like. And then I have a lot of attachment to. Then there was Neon in 2018, which I had not listened to until like last week.
Really?
When I was kind of getting back into the band. I think I'd listened through it once when it came out and I was just like, whatever. And I was interested in it or listening to other things at the time. And maybe just wasn't in the mood to listen to ERRA at that point. But the other week I was making a D&D playlist, as I often do, just inspiration songs for character stuff. And I was mining content from previous playlists that I had made. I was like, oh yeah, ERRA, that would be a really good fit for that. And I listened to it. I was like, I should listen to their new album. And as I said before, this blew my fucking mind.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, ERRA is fucking awesome. It's really, really, really awesome. So as I mentioned, they're a progressive metalcore band. They were kind of the among the tip of the spear for progressive metalcore, kind of becoming a thing in the early 2010s.
Sure.
Up until that point, late 2000s metalcore had really trended towards really sort of seen kind of really, the emo scene that the Warped Tour crowd, in the sense that the long straightened hair and the probably the biggest band of that era that still exists today is like Bring Me the Horizon and stuff, who have gone on to not be a metalcore band anymore, but are far more popular than they have ever been.
Now that they're K-pop, I think,
which is weird because they're definitely English.
Yeah, they're not Korean,
but
famously.
Like that was where metalcore was at in the early 2010s, was bands like Asking Alexandria and Bring Me the Horizon and stuff like that.
What was that, August Burns Red or whatever?
August Burns Red is, they're contemporary, but they're not really visually and stylistically all that similar to those other bands that used like more kind of like electronic elements, or at least started to bring in more electronic elements as things gone along. And I haven't listened to a lot of August Burns Red lately, but they were stylistically more similar to like early 2000s metalcore, like Killswitch Engage and what?
I don't think of Killswitch Engage as metalcore for some reason.
They're absolutely a metalcore band. That was what metalcore sounded like in the early 2000s.
I suppose, yeah, because it was like way different than it sounded like, 10 years later.
That was Converge is a metalcore band.
Right.
And Converge sounds fucking nothing like, the vast majority of metalcore bands today.
But Converge are old enough to be the fathers of this band.
Yes, absolutely.
That's your dad's metalcore band.
Yes, 100%. Metalcore in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s was very different than what it would become later. And Every Time I Die is also of that generation with Killswitch Engage of metalcore bands that started in the late 90s.
They're gone now.
Yeah, every time I think about that, I'm just like,
Every Time I Die.
Yeah. That is what it is.
Yeah.
But in any case, metalcore was in sort of a weird place in the early 2010s, and they sort of were like, we're going to go this direction and bring in more sort of ambient elements and bring in a lot of progressive elements and really just go fucking hog wild and make something that's technically impressive. And there were some bands trending in that direction. Northlane is another band that was really sort of heading that direction at that time. Northlane is another band that I haven't really kept up with. And maybe I should give them a listen. I don't know if they've, continued to do cool stuff or not.
So who's the band we listened to recently had a new album?
Silent Planet?
I love Silent Planet. That's not who I was talking about. The voice is just absolutely I feel like it's going to tear your body apart.
Are you talking about
Whitechapel?
Was it Whitechapel?
Maybe.
Are you talking about Spirit Box?
Maybe Spirit Box.
Female vocalist?
No, it was a dude. Who's a dude vocalist?
Okay. Then maybe it was Whitechapel. Maybe it was Fit for an Autopsy.
Maybe.
They're deathcore bands.
They're right. This is metalcore.
Deathcore is a step heavier, as the name might imply.
Sure.
I don't know. That train kind of derailed as well. But
sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, because when I was younger,
you were my age,
when I was your age, they had you had your hair metal, you had your heavy metal, and you had your thrash metal,
and that was it. And then what's this newfangled death metal?
Death metal? Oh, let's listen to that. And
what's this black metal?
Black metal? Yeah. And then we listen to that.
They just started releasing a new genre of metal every month.
Yeah.
In the late 80s and early 90s.
Right. And now here we are 30 years later. It's like, well, this is, and you're giving me all these categories that are subcategories of subcategories.
Yep. Somebody get Fenriz in here. Yeah. Straighten all these genres out.
Exactly.
He knows what is what. But yeah, it's, metalcore is also one of those things that is it is such a broad term.
Right.
It's really hard to nail down what it really is and is not, other than, does it use breakdowns, and is it not as heavy as deathcore? Okay, then it's probably metalcore.
Sure.
And the presence of some clean vocals mixed in is usually a pretty big signifier as well, but not necessarily, because there are plenty of metalcore bands that don't use clean vocals. There's are the guys in their 20s or 30s, do they have neck tattoos? All right, it's a metalcore band.
Are they using hairspray?
Well, there wouldn't be hairspray. It would be. Did they straighten their hair?
Yeah.
Probably be it. I think one of the other things is that like for the most part, ERRA doesn't. I mean, I guess it sort of depends on their stage presence, but like a lot of them don't have a ton of visible tattoos most of the time. Most of their band pictures. There's a lot of metalcore bands that's just like, every one of them has their body as a canvas. I guess Jesse has a lot of tattoos.
Sure.
A lot of them have tattoos, but they're not,
They don't seem to be uncovered a lot.
Yeah. Not a lot of piercings or gauged ears and that sort of thing. But you should do some talking for a bit. What are your thoughts on this? I've been talking too much.
Okay. I love this album. I loved it a lot. I just had one kind of minor beef with it. A lot of bands, and I wish we'd have talked about this with other albums, and I don't know why I've never brought it up. And I think a lot of bands do this. They will say, okay, this part of the album is this part of the album, and then the next part of the album is that part of the album. And I wonder if, I'm just spitballing here, I wonder if they don't do that for fear of being called inconsistent for like spreading out, the songs that aren't exactly like in this. We get 40 minutes at 7 songs down, and it's like, this is spectacular. These guys are great. But if
here's the introspective part of the album.
Right, because it's almost at this point, 40 minutes in, I'm trying to talk myself out of thinking this might be a gimmick. Because they do what they do well, but it's all kind of starting to blur a bit until we get to that Lunar Halo. We get to that song.
Very disarming and kind of shocking, opening of just those heavily phasered vocals.
And it's beautiful. And
it's really interesting, and it grabs your attention. It's just like, what is this going to be all of a sudden?
Right. And there's one exception in the next 5 songs that they all have sort of that introspective and the differentness and not, the same as they had been doing before. If they'd have peppered those throughout, leave the same last song. The last song definitely belongs where it is. but those other 4 songs, if they could have peppered them throughout, I feel
to be a bit of a palate cleanser between all of the highly technical progressive tracks, throw in a couple of the more anthemic, slightly more melodic tracks. Not that there's a lack of melody throughout even the heavier tracks.
No, there's plenty, but it just seems to be that they kind of handle in much the same way, song to song.
Yeah. A little bit more variety spread throughout the album wouldn't hurt it.
Wouldn't hurt. No, that being said, there's not a bad song on here.
That I would agree.
I just would, because the way you and I do this, we listen to albums.
Yeah.
Or in this day and age,
a lot of people shuffle.
We're the exception, not the rule. So but I like to hear, hey, how would you do this? To me, this is your composition. This is a suite that you have performed.
Yes.
How would you arrange the movements?
Yeah.
These 10. Okay, in this order. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And so I want to hear it that way, but you don't have to anymore.
That's how I prefer to listen to music.
Totally.
I prefer.
Me too.
A curated experience that was created by the people who made the music. I want there to feel like there's some kind of progression to the album, that the music is building towards something. That's how I prefer. I can't imagine listening to a Mastodon album out of order.
That'd be weird.
I can't fathom that. Listening to any Mastodon album out of order, except for maybe Once More Around the Sun or The Hunter, that are a bit, they're not the big concept albums.
More eclectic.
The songs don't necessarily build off of one another the same way that their concept albums do.
Sure.
But
Leviathan. That's front to back.
If I don't hear Blood and Thunder first and Hearts Alive / Joseph Merrick, or is it John Merrick?
John Merrick.
Elephant Man.
Right.
If I don't hear that last, then it's like something is deeply wrong with the world.
Right.
I
Something
can't do that.
My shit is broken. Hey guys, I can't come into work today.
I'm just
fucking Leviathan is broken.
Yeah, Leviathan's broken. I need a mental health day. But I mean, and on that end, I do have a vinyl collection.
Yeah.
I like to listen to albums in order, and yes, I do have a vinyl collection.
Right.
A medium that it's really hard to skip around in.
Right.
You have to be so precise with it and know exactly where the song's in.
Could you put your vinyl on shuffle?
God, somebody has definitely come up with a way to do that.
Actually, that's an old technology. You can't. I guess there probably could be a way you could do it. Probably you could only do one side at a time.
Yeah.
But I think there was a way that could find the large grooves.
Yeah.
And then shuffle it.
Song.
I think it fucked up your record, but
almost certainly.
Yeah.
And it would also have to be an album where there is a big enough difference in the grooves between songs.
Right.
If it's not an album that, again, if it's a prog rock concept album,
sure,
those songs bleed directly into each other.
That's a song.
The whole thing is one's
exactly.
Trying to do that on Dark Side of the Moon, I think would be practically impossible.
It would be silly. You wouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that.
No,
but
because all of your songs would end abruptly. Very jarring. and then something. Why is Money playing now?
Why is this Eclipse?
Yeah.
Eclipse shouldn't be here.
Hey, can you play me Bell Witch on shuffle?
I want to hear
Mirror Reaper.
Mirror Reaper shuffled. See how that goes.
play the first 81 minutes and then play the second 81 minutes. Which is the same as the first 81 minutes.
I mean, Mirror Reaper is definitely on. I think Mirror Reaper's got to be a 2-discer, right?
Is it?
It's got to be a 4-side if it on vinyl because it's.
Well, I suppose it would have to be, wouldn't it? It would have to be
because it's an 80-minute song, so that 40 minutes a disc is pretty standard, I think.
Right, 40, 45, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is it 40? Yeah, 45, yeah, something like that.
So I feel 44. I feel like Mirror Reaper on vinyl's got to be at least 4 discs. But I was looking around for, or does this album slap?
No. Yes, of course it does. Yeah.
Yes, it slaps the ever living shit. When I first listened to last week, I came into the studio and played the song House of Glass for you.
Yeah.
And the intro to House of Glass specifically reminded me of Liquid Tension Experiment.
Yeah.
That I can't remember what song it was off of their third album. But it was the one they used for the trailer to be like, hey, Liquid Tension Experiment is back. And the intro to that song is fucking bananas. And it's really what popped into my head. Mm-hmm. There's actually in the lyrics for some of the songs, a fair amount of psychedelic references as well. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Jesse and perhaps some other members of the band maybe are into that side of things. Who would have thought a band that includes progressive somewhere in the description of their genre are into psychedelics? That's unheard of.
Yeah,
unprecedented.
You can't even do it without psychedelics. It's not even possible.
It's not possible to do prog anything without psychedelics.
I'll say, wait a minute, you want to do this part and this? Well, none of this makes any sense. Here, eat this.
Oh,
I see it now.
I understand.
I can smell this music.
The little elves are speaking to me and they say that this is good.
Let's record this in one take.
The DMT elves say this is a good idea.
Don't record music on DMT.
I don't think you're going to be able to do anything on DMT. I learned, by the way, yesterday from a story in prep, the origin of the term trip. The origin of the term trip has to do with the scientist who first synthesized LSD, and he meant to do just a little bit of it and accidentally did a lot of it. And in his paper describing the experience, he ended it by saying, and it was a weird bike trip home.
I did not know that.
That paper in 1941 is supposedly the origin of the term trip in reference to psychedelics.
We're going to take a trip.
Yeah.
A weird bike trip home.
That was because yesterday was the anniversary, I think, of that LSD? Scientist discovering LSD. It was yesterday in 1941.
I feel like if there hasn't been a prog rock album called A Weird Bike Trip Home, there needs to be.
What is anyone even doing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you mentioned earlier, an early member of this band, you said Garrison
Lee.
Garrison Lee. He was also in another prog rock band. It was Rush.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes. Garrison Lee of Rush.
Yeah, sure. Because his grandmother said his name with an accent. Getty. Yeah.
Instead of, Gary.
Which actually is Geddy Lee's real name is Gary.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Gary Lee Weintraub. Or is it Weinrib? It's one of those two.
Weinrib.
Either way, it's...
I shall drink from the wine rib. I shall sup the marrow of the wine rib.
Yeah.
So I was looking around for scores and reviews. This came out from 5 reviews to 87%, which is pretty good, considering that this is also a pretty good album.
Yes.
They did recently this year, I think in January of this year, they released a deluxe version, which includes a bunch of new songs. I haven't listened through all of the new ones. I've listened to not a re-recorded, just a new version of the song Vanish Canvas.
Right.
I've listened to that a bunch because the last verse of that is performed by Courtney LaPlante from Spirit Box, and it just works so well.
We don't need to jump ahead.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's my favorite song on the album as well.
We are so in sync lately.
I know, it's weird. It's like
we're really.
I'm like Joey Fatone, and you're. Why can't I think of what's his name? What the fuck is his
Chandler?
name? What?
Joey Fatone? No. Oh fuck! I got Joey
and Friends is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, I was Joey Tribbiani. No,
Joey Tribbiani. No,
other members of
Justin Timberlake.
Yes,
Jeez,
I couldn't remember if Joey Fatone was from Backstreet Boys or NSYNC.
No, yeah.
Right, Joey Fatone is NSYNC still. Okay.
Yep.
I don't remember Backstreet Boys other than one of them is Carter. Is it Nick Carter or is Nick Carter the younger brother that's been in trouble?
Right, he's the younger brother who's been in trouble.
Is it Sam Carter? No, that's the vocalist of Architects.
Right, no, it's Jordan Knight and Jordan Knight Jordan and Jonathan Knight were both in Backstreet Boys, weren't they?
But I don't know. I don't know enough about. I actually know. I'll say.
Yeah.
I know enough about Backstreet Boys.
Sure.
And what I know is very little, and I'm content with that.
Oh, and what's his name? Who is in a movie we talked about earlier, The Sixth Sense?
Bruce Willis.
No. Whose older brother is Marky Mark? Donnie Wahlberg was in Backstreet Boys.
No, he was in New Kids on the Block.
Oh, he was in New Kids on the Block.
It's
all the same fucking thing to me, man.
That was an era previous to those other two bands.
I forgot about New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, no.
Jordan Knight was in New Kids on the Block as well, and Jonathan Knight. I've forgotten about the Backstreet Boys entirely.
It would be so weird to me if Donnie Wahlberg was in NSYNC / Backstreet Boys at the same time that he was starring in Band of Brothers. It would be so weird to me that if those two things were concurrent.
Yeah.
Of just like Donnie Wahlberg in Band of Brothers, also hear him as a member of NSYNC.
No, you're right. I was thinking of Backstreet Boys. I'm sure, and I wonder if anybody listening to this is going, that's the Backstreet Boys. That would be a very strange place for us to meet.
Yeah.
Right?
But anyway, Vanish Canvas is our favorite song. It's just a great song. That last line that JT sings, by the way, like JT KV's vocals, so intense, and yet he enunciates so well.
Yeah.
I really, really like his technique, and it's one that's expanded over a while because, like, really, he kind of used to just do his sort of mid-range, which is very good. But he's, started playing with the edges of that more and more as he's continued to record with ERRA. But that last line, "We are waking up out of this coma," is just like, it gets me, it grabs me. I love it. Jesse's vocals, I also really like. Jesse's clean vocals are the one thing that they cannot consistently pull off live, which is a problem I feel like for a lot of metal bands that have clean vocals of that type, especially when that vocalist has other responsibilities. It can be a bit harder to nail that.
That was the thing I was comparing them to earlier. I forget about that.
You were talking about Fear Factory.
Fear Factory. A lot of their earlier tracks on this, like the first few tracks, the guitars
gave you a Fear Factory vibe.
Gave me a Fear Factory vibe. And, and of course they do the harsh and clean vocals in on their albums as well, but it's done by the same dude.
Same vocalist.
Burton C. Bell. And then as I have understood it, I've only seen them. Okay, it's funny. I think Ray Herrera, their original drummer, or maybe it wasn't the original drummer. Maybe it was. He was good friends with my another friend of mine, who lives in the Las Vegas area now. And he actually had a videotape of them playing in an abandoned warehouse in like 1989. And it was like, the sound is through the microphone.
Oh God,
on the camcorder.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going, wow, these guys are. I can't tell.
No band sounds good through the onboard mic of literally anything.
No.
Because if you're at a live show, the sound that's being produced naturally is many orders of magnitude louder than any onboard mic is designed to reliably pick up. But it's one of those things where it's like I even if I were at a show, I probably wouldn't care if Jesse's vocals weren't perfectly on point because literally everything else,
right?
In videos that I've seen, again with shitty onboard mics of people's phones and stuff, because they haven't done like a live album or anything, but like everything else still sounds perfect. And I'm pretty sure Jesse's probably mostly concentrated on playing guitar, which is
no, I don't understand why you would say that. I mean, there's no complicated guitar parts on this at all.
Yeah, this is easy stuff.
Simple. It's all 4-chord.
Yep, 4 chords and the truth. That's all it is.
This is practically country music.
Practically country. But yeah, I don't think I would be bothered whatsoever.
It'd be fine.
It would be fine. But I think he sounds great on the albums as well. I like. I can see his style of singing not being some people's thing. He has a fairly high singing voice.
He does. He actually, there was some parts on here where I was thinking, is this a guest girl on here? I don't. Nope. No, it's actually Jesse.
Well, and he also pushes it up so high as well, and really kind of extends the technique.
That's one thing I like about this band, too, is that they do seem to be pushing the envelope whenever they can.
They do some weird shit.
Yeah.
They take some risks. They do things that it's like, this might not have, other bands trying this, it probably wouldn't have worked out very well. But these guys are very talented. The first time I listened through it, what popped into my head in addition to that Liquid Tension experiment thought was just like, spiritually, something about this reminds me of like Dream Theater in their prime, of like a bunch of extremely talented musicians just pushing it and having it feel something about this album feels fun.
It does.
Like I had a huge grin while I was listening to it the first time because it was just like something about this feels fun. It's not overly serious, but it's also not completely comical.
It's not goofy at all.
It's just extremely competent and groovy sometimes. Sometimes it's, it just blasts your face off with the complexity of it.
And they can do that and they can be like insanely intense and cerebral at the same time. They should be able to pull that off.
I love this band. I think they're fantastic.
And the funny part about all of that being said is that the great complexity, the amazing, just the speed and accuracy and just the dynamic and the variance and all that and doing all that stuff. And oh man, coming out of the studio, I'd like to see these guys walking out and go, all right, guys, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
All right. Yep. Well, I'm going to get my truck and go back to
here in Alabama.
All right.
Roll Tide. That would be
great.
That would be bizarre. But I've been to Birmingham, by the way. A fantastic city. It's beautiful.
Birmingham. City. You keep saying Birmingham.
I know. I'm doing the British pronunciation.
And if you go there and you say Birmingham, they're gonna be like, fucking Yankee.
What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, Birmingham, Alabama. Right. I forget that, yes, you can pronounce the American one that way.
No, you do pronounce the American one that way.
You do.
Yeah,
it's fine.
That's what it's called.
It's confusing because unlike some other things, they're spelled exactly the same way.
They are, and they come from the same origin. I mean,
what they should have called it is New Birmingham.
Sure.
Like every other American city that's clearly named after a city in the UK has new in front of it.
Not always. I mean, I can imagine, wandering around a very romantic city and saying, oh, he's so romantic here in Paris. And somebody saying, son, this is Texas.
This is Texas, son. I wonder if they have a little Eiffel Tower.
Maybe.
In Paris, Texas.
I don't know.
They should have a little one. Now I'm just thinking about the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee. I don't know why it just popped into my head of just, weird American monuments.
Sure.
There's a giant pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee, and there's a Bass Pro Shop inside it because
we have more than one weird American monument just in our state. That's in our state of just 600 and some thousand people.
Yes. There's a giant cow in New Salem.
Yes.
There's a giant buffalo in Jamestown.
There is. We have a whole highway of weird shit.
Of just a bunch of weird, like scrap metal art.
Yeah, that a guy welded together over decades.
Yep.
It's great. It's beautiful and odd.
There's a guy I've played D&D with who lives in Lemon, South Dakota, who's mostly on a farm, but he also does like welding art. Scrap metal art that he like welds together and whatnot. And he does some really cool stuff.
Where's Carhenge?
I don't know.
I think that's in Nebraska.
Car hinge. It sounds. It could be anywhere in the Midwest, or the Great Plains.
I feel like there's also a corn hinge.
That's just everywhere.
That's a temporary. Yeah.
Welcome to Cornhenge.
We're gonna shuck it at the end of the day.
Yep. What medal are you bestowing upon ERRA's self-titled album like Maz Kanata to Chewbacca?
I had to ruminate on it for a while. I thought about it and I felt it and I thought, okay, what will I think when I listen to it the next time I listen to it? Then I went, yes. Gold.
Yeah, this is definitely a gold for me, 100%. There's a couple. I threw a couple songs from this album onto the playlist I was making, and it's a playlist I'm going to be listening to a lot for a while because it's connected to a D&D character I'm currently playing, and that's how I kind of...
That you take seriously now?
Yeah, that used to be a joke character. We had a long conversation before we started recording, but that's how I like get into. I try to be like an actor, you know. I get into character, because that's how I have fun.
I wanted to do my character with a little bit of an accent of some kind, but then I realized, you know, if you do it, you got to commit to it.
Yeah, you got to stick with it.
I don't want to stick. I want to be able to do this and have fun with it. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm nobody's.
You don't want to saddle yourself with something that's going to become a chore later on. That's when you're just like, just kill my character, just kill my character, so I don't have to do the voice anymore. That's it for our discussion of ERRA.
Great.
What do you want to talk about next week?
Okay, and here's funny. The funny thing is that I had planned on bringing this album already before we brought up their name several times, and also the name of the place they're from several times. It has nothing to do with any of that. I just wanted to talk about the fact that I listened to this fucking thing. It's short and sweet.
Okay.
And really, really good. And it took me back to being 17 years old, even though it came out this year.
Okay.
It is the album. So make sure I get it right. Resentment is Always Seismic.
By Fear Factory?
By Napalm Death.
Oh, that was the other thing. I was like, it's either Fear Factory or Napalm Death.
We're doing two Birmingham bands back to back.
Did they release another new thing?
Yeah, well, this is sort of an EP. It's sort of a double,
it was an EP.
Yeah. It's called Resentment is Always Seismic / Final Throw of Throws.
Okay, I was going to say because Throws of Joy in the Jaws of Defeat was like 2020.
And this is sort of there are some covers on here, and just their approach to this. Some of it almost feels like they're going back to Scum a little bit.
Okay,
and so you listen
some micro songs, maybe not quite, but short.
But short and this
grindy.
The sound of it, it's more grindcore, and Barney's vocals are less sort of death metal like he was doing in like the early to mid 90s.
A little more hardcore.
More of a like somebody needs to throw this guy some fucking rope.
He's clearly
gonna die any moment now.
Help him.
Help this guy.
Help this man. I mean, a lot of early grindcore vocals was basically just hardcore punk vocalists pushing themselves even harder.
And this is what this feels like. It feels like a lot of the because in the mid to late 80s, I discovered like a lot of, I think Scotland was kind of oddly the king of this, was bands that were hardcore punk but realized punk wasn't hardcore enough for them anymore. And so they discovered a thing called thrash, but they still kind of sounded punk. But they were thrash, but
anyway, Napalm Death next week.
Napalm Death, yes.
So till then, find our social media pages if you want. We're on Facebook and we're on Twitter, and follow us there if you like. I do still post episode links.
Sure.
If that's what you want to click on and listen to us via your browser. Otherwise, using your mobile device, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, or you can download Libsyn's The Podcast Source from your app store of choice, and listen to us there. So thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. Clink.